Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Ninja Skill Booster for May, email mastery. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands that we are all coming from today. I'm coming to you from Guringai land, the northern beaches of Sydney. I'd see many of you also sharing in the chat where you're coming from, Wiradjuri country, from Meanjin, Brisbane, the lands of the unceded lands of the Turrbal and Yugara peoples. Lovely. What I like to think about at this time in a workshop like this or a webinar like this is all the training and storytelling and education that's been done over many years, many thousands of years on these lands. And welcome to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people with us today. My name is Ninja Matt. Many of you have met me before. If you haven't met me, welcome. Welcome to our Ninja family. I know we've got quite a few new people joining us today. We've had a lot of people inquiring about our training and our workshops lately. And we always say, come along to the Ninja Skill Booster. It's a great way to try it out. We also run these Ninja Skill Boosters to support our ongoing Ninja community of everyone who's done our workshops before, done our training, done our coaching. Welcome back. So please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or our business on LinkedIn or our business Think Productive Australia on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you like. Connect with us and let's get stuck into today's session. So if you don't know about Think Productive, we're a global training organization founded by Graham Alcott, who wrote this book, How to Be a Productivity Ninja. And what we're all about is helping you love your work, helping you love Mondays. So I'm the owner of the business here in Australia and New Zealand, but we have a global team, and I've also got a team here in Australia and New Zealand who many of you know. And my passion is to help our clients reduce stress and obviously with that get more fulfillment out of work and love Mondays. So today we're going to put emails in their place where they belong so that they're not such an overwhelming, stressful thing in our world. And to do that, I've got 5 tips to help you. So you can love your inbox again. And now what we mean by that is if you're as old as me, you might remember when emails became commonplace. I was working in corporate when emails started to become more normal, but we still only had a limited number of computers in the office. But we would literally stand around this computer and watch an email arrive, especially if it had a graphic design file from the designer that we could open and look at. Because prior to that, we had to wait for a courier to walk through the door and bring the printouts from the designer. So it was like, wow, this was so exciting. We don't think about emails like that anymore, but we could try. We could try and think. They are very, very helpful. They really are magic if used well. So today's content comes mostly from our Getting Your Inbox to Zero workshop, where we do a 2 to 3 hour workshop with a good chunk of theory followed by hands-on implementation. So today I'm giving you some of that theory. I'm sharing some of that theory. We're not doing the implementation in the session today. And as usual, I've got a giveaway at the end of today's session after I stop the recording. So yeah, stay till the end if you can. But I would love to hear, please, how do you feel about emails? How do they affect your work or your well-being? I'll read some of these out. We've got over 150 people here, so I'll read out some as we go. Overwhelmed, loathe them. They create lots of work. I love and I hate them. Yes, Donna. Distracting. Yes. Beck will be talking about the distraction of emails today. Jake's put an upside down smiley face there. I love that. Yeah. Lots of noise, distracting. A great tool used poorly. Yep, Kylie, well said. Emails are becoming less and less, but Teams, OMG, is now the new email. Yes, Natalie, thank you. Thanks for reminding me to mention that today is about emails, but a lot of this does apply to Teams now as well. Teams is the new email. I think that's a good way to put it. Holiday, not hold. Yes, Teams is another one. Demanding. Yes, okay, let's go. They affect my breaks. Yes, too many. Couldn't do without it. Yes, but could well do without it. Yes, Mark. All right. So why do we struggle with emails? Let's have a look at some data here. Thank you for all that input. Let's see some reaction emojis popping up on the screen here. One was like, and I get it. So why do we struggle with emails? Well, we receive a lot. This data is a bit out of date now, but we do receive a lot. And we send quite a lot. And the most important part of this slide that I like to focus on is 40% of our day is spent doing emails. Now, this was 2019, so pre Teams being such a big thing. So now we've probably got 30% of our day on emails and 30% of our day on Teams. So it's probably now 60% of our day dealing with our communication, right? But the key thing here is email hasn't stopped. Even though that data is a bit out of date, here's some more recent data from the Radicati group. And as we can see, email continues to grow. In addition to Teams and other instant chat messages, emails continue to grow. So it's something we really do need to focus on. I'm just looking at some more comments in the chat here. 2 email boxes to check. Yeah, often it's not just one email box we need to deal with. There's so much going on, right? We react every minute. That's so distracting. Yes, we're definitely talking about these reactions today. So email distraction. Do you want to be smarter? In my working life, well, I'm still working, but in my corporate life, I always wished I was a little bit smarter, and I still do. I just wish, oh, I wish I was just a little bit smarter. Well, managing your email distraction can make you be less dumb, if I can just be blunt. It's not going to make you smarter, but it's going to make you be less smart. This study done at King's College in London, they had 3 groups of people doing an IQ test. The first group at the halfway point, they just kept going. The second group at the halfway point, they popped up some email notifications and kept popping them up. The third group, they knew this was part of the study, so they volunteered for this. They smoked marijuana. They were the chosen ones to be in group 3, right? You can see the data here. The first group, you can't see that data, but they just kept getting similar results. The second group, 10-point drop in IQ, just from letting themselves get distracted by an email notification. The third group, a 4-point drop in IQ. So look at the impact there. The key point of this is the impact of that email distraction. That notification popping up on the screen, taking 10 points off our IQ. So that is massive, okay? That's massive. And email is a source of major interruption. It distracts us from what we're in the middle of, if we let it. And that's what we're talking about today. We're going to decide to not let it distract us anymore. But it is. If we have it there on another screen, it's always there. It's so distracting. The other thing about email is it can be very inefficient. If we find ourselves backwards, forwards, please call someone on Teams or the old-fashioned way, call them on the phone if you happen to still have a phone, you know. So be aware that it's not always the best form of communication. So the result of this is less focus, more stress, more overwhelm. The question, I'd love you to put this in the chat. How many times a day do you check your emails? There's no judgment here, by the way. For many people, it's always on. Yeah, constantly. 3 times. If people are saying 2 or 3 times, great. Hundreds of times, that's probably true. Constantly. Twice. Well, some of you are ninjas already. It's always on. Never thought of counting. Yeah, okay. So most of us, and this is common, most of us prior to becoming ninjas, checking it all the time or very, very, very regularly. So when we control our emails, when we get on top of this, so think about this. This is something that is in our control. This is something we're letting happen to us, if I could be lovingly blunt, right? This is something that we let happen to us. So we can control this. We can get on top of this. So when we do this, we get more attention and more focus. If we get more attention and more focus, we can get our work done better. We can get more work done, better quality in less time. We get more clarity. Those of you that have done my workshops know I love to talk about Brene Brown, and Brene Brown says clarity is kindness. And in that context, Brene is often referring to when you provide clarity to others, it's an act of kindness. But I like to think of this as an act of self kindness or self love. If we can provide clarity to ourselves, it's an act of kindness to ourselves. And we can be more efficient. If we're more efficient, we get more done. Productivity is not just about doing more, though, it's about doing more of the right things. So if we're more efficient, we've got more attention, more focus, we can prioritize better, all the usual activity stuff, right? But we can be so much better at all of that if we're not letting ourselves get distracted by emails. All right, let me get into these 5 tips for you then. Many of you would have heard these before, but it's worth having reminders. It's always worth having reminders. And what's more important than the reminders is putting them into practice when we finish. Sarah says, when I see the new email icon on Outlook appears, I'm tempted to check what it is. Yeah, it's the curiosity of the cat. We can't, it's very hard to not want to see it. Many people turn off the notifications thinking that's a good step, and it is. But then what they find is they have the inbox open on the second screen all the time anyway, and you can see the new emails arrive anyway. So even turning off the notifications is often not enough these days, because if we can see there's new emails there, we have to look at them. If we're not very, very strong with ourselves, and willpower is a exhaustive resource. We run out of willpower eventually. So, okay, let's get into the tips. Number 1, don't overplay email. It's just one form of communication. So we can communicate in other ways. If you start communicating with people in other ways, by conversations, Teams Teams calls, phone calls, you will start to reduce your email traffic. So it's just one form of communication. Let's not always just default to that. And part of this is thinking about every piece of communication we send is a step towards or away from our outcome. So make it count. So whether it is email or whether it's something else, this slide comes from our Supercharge Your Team Comms workshop, and I love it because it's just a reminder that every piece of communication, especially email, every piece of communication matters. A text message, a quick Teams instant message, whatever. Think about the etiquette. So when we're focused on emails, practice great email etiquette. If you can have better subject lines, you'll get better emails back. In email etiquette, I like to think about we get the emails we deserve. We receive the emails we deserve. Like if you send a lot of emails with bad subject lines or not a lot of clarity in the action, you'll get a lot of bad emails back. So if we practice great email etiquette, we start to set the standard, but we also get better emails back. Number 2, turn off the emails and the notifications. So not just the notifications. This is the key bit for many of us here who might already have the notifications turned off, but turn off the emails. So there's a button called Work Offline. You'll see it on the screen here in Outlook. This is for the desktop version of Outlook under the Send Receive menu. You can turn your Outlook offline. This is separate to turning off the notifications. So definitely turn off the notifications. Excuse me. But turn your Outlook offline. What this does, it means you can still be using your Outlook. You can still be using your calendar. You can still be looking up information in your emails, but you won't be getting any new emails arriving. This is so powerful. What you'll find when you do this, when you turn your Outlook offline, your brain will go into a different state initially, and you'll almost feel, it's a little bit embarrassing, but you might actually feel a little bit bored. It's like, oh, I'm not getting all this stimulation coming through from my emails. So, oh, well, I'll have to go and focus on my work then. So this is definitely worth trying. Now, just a quick tip. It's the same button to turn it back online. It's only happened once, but I did have one person call me on the phone after a workshop and say, Matt, where's the work online button? I was like, okay, no, it's just the same button. It's like a toggle. So this is part of our ninja stealth and camouflage idea. So I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend this because what if you've turned it offline, picture this. You're working through a report or a proposal or a piece of work and you think, I need some information that's in Outlook. I know someone emailed me that yesterday or the day before. You can go into Outlook without that concern that you're going to get distracted by new emails because there won't be any new emails. So you can go into Outlook, find the information you need, and then get back. You can stay in the zone. This is absolute gold. Tip number 3, our productivity ninja mindset is to stop checking and process instead. So if you find yourself just checking your emails, catch yourself and think, no, I'm not going to just check. This is a really big habit shift, this one. I'm not going to check, I'm going to process. Now, processing means getting your inbox to 0. Now, you won't do this quickly the first time. Might take you an hour or 2. That's what our workshop's for, right? You do it. People do it in an hour or 2 even if they've got massive inboxes. But if you do this as an ongoing process and 3 or 4 or 5 times a day, you're processing to 0, there'll only be 15, 20 emails to deal with. And what we do, we process to 0, we put them in some folders. I'm going to show you the folders. And then the inbox is 0. Then we can turn our Outlook offline for the next hour or 2. Now, this takes some team communication. This takes some team agreements that it's okay to be offline. So one thing to think about is what are the expectations in your team or your organization around email responsiveness and how are emails used? If they are used for urgent things or last minute things, it's going to make it harder. So there might need to be some agreements in your team or your organization that if something's urgent, it'll be a Teams chat rather than an email, for example. Then we're just moving the problem to Teams, I get it, but at least it's all in one place. So we do have a workshop called Supercharge Your Team Comms where we can help you work all this out for your team. Okay, but you can do that work yourself. I'm just looking at some of the comments in the chat here. Great. Yeah, they're mostly just comments, no questions. Rebecca has a question. I can't turn off my notifications in case my manager needs me. Any tips? Yeah, that's a common concern, Rebecca. Well said. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. The tip is to talk to your manager and talk to your team. And you might have an agreement with your manager or your team to say, hey, we should try this working offline thing in our emails. If we're always responsive, always contactable, we're not getting our best work done. What if we were to be offline? Maybe just try it for an hour a day or something and do a power hour. So everyone knows between 10 and 11, you're not contactable. But if they need you, they can come and find you or they can call you on the phone. So you might just need to have some part of these behavior changes does often involve having some conversations. You can't just change the way you work and not tell anyone if there's pre-agreed or even pre-assumed ways of working. Number 4, don't do email on your mobile phone. I love this image. If we do email on our mobile phone, what we're often doing is just checking. We're not really processing them. We're not sorting them out properly. We're often not responding because it's a bit of a pain to type. So then we get back to our desk and we have to read it again, do it again. So this is another habit change. Have a think about whether you even really need your work emails on your mobile phone. It's a real addiction. It's often leading to out of hours work. Marianne, you're saying you do that and you do answer them. Yeah, so if you're good at that, if you do answer them on your phone and then file them and get them out of the way, fair enough. It's possible. This is just an awareness piece that often we're over checking on our phone. This is not good for our brains. We're not getting any downtime. For example, we might think, oh, I'll go for a walk around the block or I'll go down the road and get a coffee to have a break. What do we do when we have a break? What do we do when we need something? We have a pause, we look at our phone, we do our emails, right? So it's just constantly reminding our brain of this overwhelm and this stress, and we're not getting the downtime. So maybe a challenge for today is just catch yourself how often you do check your emails, especially on your phone. And the final tip is triage to zero. So I'm going to share with you the folders. Many of you have done our inbox to zero workshop, but these folders this is our main process. There's a whole lot of other tips and ideas that we can share and help you with, but having a solid folder structure makes all the difference. These have an @ sign at the front. The @ sign puts them at the top of the list. The action folder is the key one. That's where the emails go that you've still got to do something with. They go to the action folder. The reading folder, emails you're going to come back and read later, or newsletters, things like that. The waiting folder, if you're waiting for other people to do things. Now, in addition to this, we recommend not too many subfolders. This is a really key part of it as well. You can just have a subfolder called Attic or Dumping Ground or Completed, or you can use the archive in Outlook. And all your emails you're finished with can go in one folder if you like. This is a key part of the process because it saves a lot of time spent filing. So these 3 key processing folders, you might also have a CC folder and have a rule to put emails in a CC folder for emails you're CC'd on. So we go through all this in the Inbox to Zero workshop, but what we love to share in these Ninja Skill Boosters is enough information in this short half an hour, enough information so you can go and start implementing this if you want to. But yeah, there's so much more we share, but this is a really good starting point. To add to this, when you're processing your emails, we talk about the 2-minute rule. If there's an email you can deal with in less than 2 minutes, just deal with it. Deal with it on the spot rather than thinking, I'll come back to that later. Deal with it on the spot. All right, so these 3 folders, they provide a fantastic structure to triage and let the emails flow through. So we've covered a lot today. Thank you for coming, Vivian. We've covered a lot today. Stay if you can, because I'm going to do the giveaway as soon as I stop the recording. Today we've put emails in their place. Okay? We're not going to let them control our life anymore. These 5 tips, really key tips there. I'm going to answer some questions shortly. Chapter 4 of the book is key. If you want to get on top of this, go and have a read of chapter 4 in the Productivity Ninja book, and that'll take you through the whole process. I'd love you to put in the chat, what are you going to do now? What's one light bulb moment or one reflection from today that you're going to put into practice? I love it that the first one was work offline. Yes. Just made the folders in the inbox. Nice work. Power hour. Good. All right. I'm going to start wrapping up. So many of you are leaving. I know there's so much more you can learn in our Inbox to Zero workshop. So we can run this for your organization. So I'll put the link in the chat for that if you want to have a read about that on the website. But we also run this as a public workshop. So we've got a public workshop coming up. So our public workshops mean you can just buy a ticket for one person if you like. You don't have to book a whole workshop for your organization. So here's the link to the public workshop. The public workshop is on the 13th of June. We run these on Zoom, so you can join from anywhere. Here's the link to that. Tickets are $200 or $250. Just jump in and have a look there. And this is a 2-hour session online. It's on Zoom, and we go through the whole process for you there. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. Please stay in touch if you would like to get in touch. Get in touch, have a chat, let me know. Here are my contact details. I'm going to answer some questions now and then do the giveaway. There was a question about AI tools. AI tools, I can't find the question now after all the how useful is an AI tool to review the inbox? Yeah, if you've got the paid version of Copilot and you're using that, definitely get that to summarize your emails for you, help you prioritize. It's about practicing with it, seeing if it works for you. Some people find it does, some people find it doesn't, but it's definitely worth playing with, and also using it to do your responses can be really helpful as well. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it takes me down a bit of a tangent that I don't want to go down. So it just depends on the complexity there with that. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm just going to do the quick giveaway. I'll stop the recording now. If you're watching the recording, thank you for joining. Please get in touch if you have any questions.